How many things in your home quietly guard your life shaped by ideas born in Germany? A window swings into a strange sideways position and a child cannot fall through the gap. Steam pours from an electric kettle, yet the body stays cool enough for a sleepy hand. On one wall, a plug shuts power off in a second, faster than shock can reach your voice. Again and again, such tricks trace back to Germany, shaped by fire, factories, crowded cities, and a stubborn wish that accidents should never repeat. Invisible ideas sit behind everyday objects. Careful German design hides inside plugs, windows, doors, machines, changing risks toward helpers. By the end, you will read home objects like new protective stories. Perhaps the most hidden guardian in a German flat sits behind a dull gray door in the hall. An electrician lifts the cover, points to a small switch marked with tiny letters. This is the FI shelter. It is a safety switch that cuts power when something is wrong. It grew from German fears of wet cellars, crowded bathrooms, and new plastic wires in the mid-1900s. Before such parts spread, one broken cable in a damp room could turn water into a trap. The FI measures tiny leaks and cuts power in a blink. German families shower, shave, and wash near plugs because this quiet gate stands watch. When you see it, you can read years of accidents turned into one firm click, which leads straight toward the everyday socket. One of the oddest sockets starts with a round white plate set deep in the wall. The German Schuko plug system looks simple, yet each curve carries a choice. Older outlets gave flat, loose contact and no safe path for stray current. The Schuko socket sits deep in the wall and holds the plug tight, with side strips that give stray current a safe way out. If metal casing breaks inside a lamp or toaster, the fault rushes down that path, not through a hand. For visitors, the chunky plug feels heavy. For Germans, it feels like trust built into the wall, which spreads through every small device that hangs from it. Hidden in plain sight on many cables, a tiny double square symbol shows another layer of care. German rules for double insulation pushed makers to wrap live parts with two strong shells instead of one. Old tools often relied on a single plastic coat. One crack could mean a shock. New housings must pass hard tests. They must survive in rainy day, heat, and long use. They must not let fingers touch metal. That is why a kettle or hair dryer can have a light plastic body without an earth wire. When you hold such gear, your hand closes on a little bubble of safety. And even simple toys or fans carry that same quiet promise. Now something even smaller waits inside some modern outlets. A turn that blocks curious fingers. Child protection shutters became common as German flats filled with both laptops and tiny hands. A bare hole in the wall once invited hairpins, spoons, or toy parts. New inserts let the contact blades only move when a real plug presses both sides at once. To a child, the slot feels stuck. To a parent, the soft resistance feels like a sigh of relief. When you plug in a charger and feel that tiny extra push, you meet the same mindset that shaped the fuse box, just shrunk down to the size of a coin. On a street, a German window opens in a way that puzzles visitors. The handle lifts up, the frame tilts in at the top, and only a slim gap appears. This tilt and turn idea rose after city blocks made safe, fresh air a daily need. Older frames swung wide and could slam shut in wind or tempt a child to climb. Here, the hinge moves, seals hold, and you get air without a fall. Each night, people sleep with glass open, yet feel guarded, and soon another small twist of that handle brings a stricter lock. Further along the frame, another trick waits in the handle. A tiny keyhole lets adults lock the lever in place while children tug in vain. These lockable grips spread as German families moved high into blocks with deep windowsills. Before them, a low sill and loose latch turned a toy car chase into a possible drop. With the lock set, glass still tilts for air, yet the wide swing stays off limits until a calm hand turns that key toward the bright yard below. Across the room, a glass door hides its own shield. The pane is laminated clear safety glass, bonded in layers. old sheets shattered into long knives. This type breaks into crumbs that cling to film. Feet, pets, and soap-wet hands meet cracks, not shards, before the story turns toward water itself. Steam curls around tiles in a German bathroom, while the shower spray holds the same calm warmth. A thermostatic mixer hides inside the metal bar on the wall. Designers shaped it after burns from sudden blasts of hot water in tall blocks with old pipes. Earlier taps mixed water by hand. A toilet flush or tap next door could turn a gentle stream into scalding heat. In this bar, a small sensor inside feels the temperature and cuts hot flow if it rises too far. A limit ring stops the handle at a safe setting unless you press a button. Children soap their hair under that steady flow, and older hands rest easy as the next layer of defense waits at the edge of the tub. Inside the glossy basin, a narrow oval near the rim looks like simple decor. That little opening is the overflow, which German builders made standard as flat screw fuller and sink screw deeper. Without it, a forgotten tap could spill straight across tiles and down to neighbors below. Hidden pipes now link the hole back into the drain, so extra water slips away before it reaches the lip. When you leave a tap running by mistake and find only a damp bowl, you meet a tiny mouth that swallowed a flood for you, while in another room a bigger guardian listens for leaks. Near the washing machine, a thick hose ends in a solid block at the tap, the AquaStop style safety inlet. Flooded basements from burst lines once ruined wooden floors and stairwells. In this design, a valve inside the block snaps shut if the inner hose breaks or if flow surges too long. Some even sense water in a tray under the machine and kill supply at once. To you, it looks like bulky plastic on a pipe. To a German landlord, it looks like sleep without fear of midnight waterfalls, and it points toward alarms that care more about smoke than splashes. High above a German bed, a small white circle waits in silence. This smoke alarm grew common after night fires in old blocks trapped sleeping families. Before such discs spread, thick smoke often filled halls before anyone woke. Inside, a tiny sensor tastes the air and shrieks when particles rise. A test button and mute key let people check or calm it. 10 years after fitting, a soft beep warns that change has come. When you wake to its harsh note, that sound buys seconds to reach a safer room. At the flat entrance, a heavy door swings back on its own after each visit. Builders started using these fire doors as stairwells filled with mailboxes, bikes, and coats. Earlier, light wooden doors stayed open, letting smoke and flames race into escape routes. In the new style, thick cores, metal edges, and special seals hold heat back. A spring closer pulls the leaf shut even when someone forgets. Behind that click, the space between home and stair stays a planned shield. Under the desk, a long plastic bar holds many plugs in one line. German makers turned this simple strip into a small fire lab after overheated coils scorched carpets. Older multiplugs often used soft plastic that burned fast and thin wire that baked in dust. Newer strips use self-extinguishing casings, thicker copper, and tiny thermal fuses that cut power when heat climbs. A red switch lets you turn many devices off at once. Each time you stamp it dark at night, you trim both risk and waste, while in the kitchen, another glow still waits on the stove. On a German glass cooktop, danger looks like a soft red letter that refuses to go dark. The little H for Restwärme, or residual heat, stays on after you turn the knob off. Earlier hot plates glowed and then faded to black even while the metal still burned bare skin. Here, sensors inside the plate feel the warmth and keep the sign lit until the surface cools below a set line. Pots move, meals finish, yet that stubborn mark warns hands and cloths away from an invisible burn. Next to that plate, the oven door cools a quiet story of burns turned into glass. Old cookers often had a single pane that grew as hot as the air inside. German rules pushed makers toward double or triple glazing, plus fans that blow room air through the frame. The inner sheet still bakes the roast, yet the outer pane stays softer on small fingers. A latch can lock the door during cleaning, so curious hands meet a firm stop. Children notice this. Beside the bathroom door, a front-loading washing machine hums while the round glass stays sealed. German engineers added a door lock that snaps shut whenever the drum holds water. Older units could be forced open mid-cycle, sending hot suds onto feet or letting a child reach inside. Now, a bolt in the frame holds tight until sensors feel that water has drained and the drum has slowed. A delay light keeps you waiting a few seconds, trading impatience for skin that never meets spinning metal. On an ironing board, an iron rests, and you wander off to answer the door. Yet the cloth does not scorch. Auto shutoff systems spread as German insurers counted fires from forgotten appliances. Tiny motion and tilt switches cut power when the sole plate stays still or lies flat. Kettles share this trick, snapping off the moment the water boils dry. So what links a forgetful moment at the iron to a window latch or a fuse in the cellar? These 17 German ideas may look like random gadgets, yet together they draw a clear map. Danger is not denied, it is reshaped. Heat, height, water, power, smoke all stay present, but each one is wrapped in a small control. Instead of warning signs on every wall, quiet parts act first, before people can panic or forget. Another pattern lies in memory. Many of these devices came after fires in crowded blocks, after shocks in damp rooms, after floods in dark basements. The lesson did not stay as fear or blame. It turned into rules, tests, and patient design details that sit inside plastic, glass, and steel. You rarely notice them, yet they still carry old stories. The last shared value is trust. A flat full of children, older people, pets, and guests can feel calm because unseen helpers stand guard. What first looked like rules and strict hardware starts to feel like quiet care built into everything you touch. That trust softens the tension of dense city life. Safety becomes part of the furniture. From hidden fuses to self-closing doors, these 17 German safety inventions show how a whole culture turned hard lessons into calm, everyday protection. Strange plugs, slow locks, stubborn warning lights, they become a language of care written in plastic, glass, and steel. Which of these guardians is already in your home, and how many more wait in the streets, trains, factories, and family rooms you pass each day? If you want to spot them, stay with this channel. Subscribe and keep watching for deep, clear journeys into German culture, history, and design, where small details quietly change how you see the world.